33rd edition of the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations currently underway in Cameroon has been marked by devastating scenes after we witnessed a stampede on Tuesday night when the host Cameroon played the Comoros in the last round of 16 match at the Olembe Stadium. 8 people lost their lives with quite a number getting injured. This is the 4th episode of the Siqalo podcast. My name is Washington Sibanda, aka Marasta. With me today is the queen of football, Buhle Ncube, and Grema Ndebele. We used to call him Grazo during his playing days. Buhle, quite sad scenes. A number of people are losing their lives on Tuesday night when the host Cameroon played Comoros.
Yeah, it's quite a sad a moment, but those things usually happen, especially in such big games as host are playing. Those things usually happen. I think it's time CAF taking action to protect lives of people, because we've seen such kind of things in each and every a big tournament. Those things happening. So I think they should find a way to prevent such kind of incidents. I think they should find a way.
Indeed, CAF coming out in the open saying that heads will definitely roll. Grazo. Patrice Motsepe, the CAF president, saying that they're doing whatever they can to investigate and come to the bottom of this issue. Looking at this tournament, we've seen that CAF had stipulated that for all the matches it has to be a 60% capacity, but for the host they were given a waiver, 80% capacity in the stadium. But what happened on Tuesday night shouldn't have happened.
I'm pretty sure, especially when the hosts are playing, it is very much bound that everyone wants to get a piece of the show, and the failure to manage the crowd, I think, was a very, very, very much downfall when it came to that stampede. So I'm pretty sure that CAF definitely has to do something pertaining the security measures, because we do not want to have any more lives lost during this soccer showcase.
Indeed, so CAF has to do whatever it takes to make sure that what happened on Tuesday night doesn't happen again. And in that matter, the Olembe Stadium has been suspended for hosting any matches. I remember it was supposed to host the final, so wait to see where the final now is going to be played. So moving on into the last round of 16, quite a lot of interesting results in the last round of 16. So many big giants are falling out. Buhle, starting with the first match, we saw Burkina Faso and Gabon playing to a 1-1 draw after 120 minutes, and then going into the dreaded penalty shootouts, and Burkina Faso being led by Bertrand Traore qualifying for the quarterfinals. Would you say you expected the Burkina to beat Gabon?
Yeah, for Burkina Faso, I expected them, because even during the group stages, they seem to be strong mentally. So in such matches, it's not about the performance sometimes, it's about the mentality, to have a winning mentality. So I think Gabon was beaten on that. They didn't have that strong mentality. That's my take on that, but it was a quite interesting one.
Quite interesting match. Gabon, they're missing their captain Pierre Aubameyang. He hasn't played any part in this tournament after testing COVID and also other issues. So Gabon being booted out by the Burkina Faso moving into the quarterfinals. Grazo. Then the next one in the evening of Monday, we saw Tunisia stunning Nigeria. Nigeria being tipped to be the favorites to go all out and probably win the cup, but Tunisia had other stories. Nigeria losing to Tunisia by a goal to nil.
Yeah, in soccer, it's so very much difficult, especially if you get to proceed to the next round without even testing any draw, any defeat. You wouldn't have tested your mental strength. How do you come out from such a result? So it was such a blow for the Nigerians and for many people who had tipped Nigeria. But like I had highlighted earlier on, you do not want to give Arab teams the lead. The moment they take the lead, those guys are they are so mentally fit and they are so mentally focused. So once you give them that lead, they can even defend a 1-0 scoreline after scoring in the first minute of the game. So they are so very mentally balanced. So it was such a good performance which they both staged, but eventually Tunisia emerged victorious.
So Nigeria losing out to Tunisia. Remember, these two sides had met in the 29th edition for the third and fourth playoff, where Nigeria were victorious in that game. Moving into the next one, we saw Guinea losing by 1-0 to Gambia. Obviously, Gambia being led by Tom Sentif. The coach was once attached to the Warriors. Then after some issues, he left that job. Gambia playing so well, defeating Guinea to progress to the quarterfinals.
Okay, first I would like to comment on the coach. We called them, we called him names, you know, when he was in charge of Warriors, you know, all sorts of names. And seeing him progressing, it's like seeing your ex moving on with his life, you know, doing things that you can't do. So yeah, it's quite impressive for Gambia, and I think they are the secret weapon of this tournament, and they are the underdogs, and they are just demonstrating what they can do, and kudos to the coach.
Do you think they might go all the way to the final?
They might. They might.
So Bushe reckoning that Gambia can go all the way. Obviously, they'll be camping on the likes of Abron Jalo sitting on 2 goals. Then Grazo, the host Cameroon beating Comoros by 2-1. But a lot of controversy in that match. Comoros having to field an infield player in between the goalposts. But I think he had a stellar of a match. But at the end of the day, Vincent Abubakar scoring his 6th of the tournament to help Cameroon beat Comoros by 2-1.
I strongly feel that Comoros was hard done, especially coming to this match, the COVID cases. I strongly feel they were so very much hard done. But again, I cannot take the positive from them. They did stage a superb performance. It was great energy in the game, and even the makeshift goalkeepers went in there and had a couple of saves, and they didn't make it easy even for the Cameroonians, and they even took the back to them, because at one point they were so very much a threat in front of the Cameroon goal, and credit to the Cameroon goalkeeper. I think he proved a wall when it came to the attack, and I think basically this tournament has been a tournament of goalkeepers, because looking at the performance which they've been posing, I think they did pretty well. And for Comoros, it's a tough luck for them, but managing to get even that one goal shows character. They had a lot of character. So I think it's heads off to the Islanders. They did pretty well.
So Comoros, I think, put it out by the host. But what a goal that they scored. A beautiful free kick from Comoros. And then we saw Senegal being led by Sadio Mane beating the Cape Verde by 2-0. Senegal, I will just say that we saw 2 red cards as well in that match. I will just say that those 2 red cards actually aided the Senegalese to beat the Cape Verde.
Yeah, they might have added. But Senegal hasn't impressed me. And I think there is a better team that should be in that spot. But hey, it's all about mental strength when it comes to these tournaments. It's all about mental strength. I think Senegal did the right mentality, but I'm not impressed with the fact that they haven't been scoring goals. If you look at even from group stages, they only scored 1 goal, right? A penalty, you know. And I haven't been impressed with Senegal. I haven't been impressed at all. But with Sadio Mane, obviously, it's an engine of midfield. You do whatever it takes to make sure his team win. So, yeah, I'll just credit Siqalo.
Indeed, Sadio Mane scoring his second of the tournament. Senegal, they've scored 3 goals so far, and they are the only team that is yet to concede. Obviously, Krazo, Cape Verde yet tipped them to go the way, and it's tough like they lose to Senegal in that last round of 16 match.
With the red card, I think they were just unfairly done. The goalkeeper red card. It was just a collision, and I believe those 2 players suffered the same thing, the concussion. So I think the ref was a bit hard on them. The ref was a bit hard on them. So had it not been for that, I always value Senegal, and I always tip them. I mean Cape Verde. I always tip them to go all the way to the final, and I was even looking forward to seeing them even in the next stage, but unfortunately, so I strongly feel they were so very much hard done.
Indeed, so big decisions are being made by the VAR in that tournament. Cape Verde being shown 2 red cards in that match against Senegal. And then we saw Morocco beating Malawi by 2 goals to 1. Malawi coming good, going all the way to the last round of 16 for the first time, getting that early lead from Capatino Mango. But Morocco coming back to win that one by 2 goals to 1.
It was all Gabadino Mango, that's the Southern Africans. I think what a stellar of a goal which is scored. And his run was proving so versatile, especially in that midfield. He could run them all. But now, like I was saying with the Arab nations, you give them one little chance, and those guys, they are so focused when it comes to mentality. So they are psychologically fit, and they could take the game all the way to the wire, because the only thing which can stop those teams is just the final whistle, and they had to run and run up until they credited that goal. So I think getting into extra time now with those guys, it'll be much easier for them, because already psychologically they are into it, and they know what energies they are using when it comes to the extra time. So Malawi did stage a great performance, and it did take us to the wire with the Arabs. So I think credit to them again, because no one was looking at them getting into that stage. But they played as a compact team, and they attacked as a compact team, and defend. Like I said, in these stages, it's all pound for pound. So it's an open play. So they really staged out a good performance, which took them there. So credit to them again. Unfortunately, they had to bow out.
Indeed, Malawi being put out of the tournament. And then we saw the Ivory Coast playing Egypt. Obviously, quite a lot was expected from this match, but Egypt prevailing after a penalty shootout. Would you say that's what you expected, considering how the Ivorians have been playing in this tournament?
Ivory Coast has been one of the best teams so far, right? Egypt, I feel something about Egypt. They've been like coming out, you know. It's not Egypt that we all know, you know. It's not the Arabs that we all know. So I feel like that sport, you know, could have been Nigeria's sport, you know. But but hey, it's football. At the end of the day, with Salah, obviously, you can't miss. So the disadvantage with the Ivory Coast, they allowed a draw from the 120 minutes that we played. So going to penalties with Egypt, definitely you can't win. And their goalkeeper is very good. Let's give credit to their goalkeeper. Mind you, was the best goalkeeper in group stages. So they have a good goalkeeper. So they shouldn't have allowed them to go all the way to penalties. So Egypt.
So Egypt are prevailing over the Cote d'Ivoire there in that one after a penalty shootout. Eric Bailey of Manchester United missing that penalty that allowed Egypt to prevail to the quarterfinals. Then Grazo, the last of the matches, we saw another surprise. Mali playing to a goalless draw against Equatorial Guinea after 120 minutes. Dreaded penalty shootouts. Equatorial Guinea, they are through to the quarterfinals.
It was all about energy. That's the catalyst of African soccer, and a lot of energy has been posed even in this game pertaining Mali and Equatorial Guinea. And I think it was an open game as well. So if having the game being decided on penalties, it proves that it was all a pound for pound, and the deadlock has just been settled with the penalties. So I think Equatorial Guinea, for me, I was tipping Mali to go all the way. So having Equatorial Guinea, it's a surprise again for me. And but they do pose a threat even going forward. The way they playing as a team, knowing what to play for, and the energies which they have, the structure which they play in, and I think they can go all the way again. They can go all the way again. So it's all about the mentality, the character, the attitude on the day.
Indeed, it's been an interesting tournament so far. The so-called underdogs are proving so many people wrong. Going into the next stage, which is the quarterfinals, we've got quite a lot of interesting fixtures. Burkina Faso are going to be playing Tunisia. Obviously, Burkina Faso, they were the 2013 finalists losing in the final. They're playing a Tunisian side that finished fourth in 2019. And the Tunisia, obviously, they better group stages form, but they beat the Nigerians. Going into this one against Burkina Faso, what's your take, Bush?
I think Burkina Faso should manage their game. Like he was saying, he said, with Arabs, don't give them a lead. If you give them a lead, you get punished, right? So they should manage their game. Tunisia, they haven't been scoring, so their up front is not that sharp. So I think if Burkina Faso can get 2 goals first half, then they are good to go.
So wait to see whether the Burkinabe are being led by Bertrand Traore. They're going to triumph over the Tunisians. Then Grazo, we're going to see another interesting one. It's going to be an Arab affair. Egypt are going to be playing Morocco. Quite an interesting one. Egypt not having a good run over Morocco. Morocco, obviously, they've won quite a number of games over Egypt in their derbies. What's your take on this one? Egypt versus Morocco in the quarterfinals.
I'm pretty sure this one is going to be one exhilarating encounter, having both Arabs facing each other. But I think the difference now will come as in how well will both teams defend, because both of them, they are so very much open. And Egypt coming from a low start, I think they are slowly getting on song, and taking this game now with Morocco, it's just going to be a very much tactical game, considering both of them, they show the same similar tactics and the mindset and the way they play. So it's just going to be an exhilarating game which we are going to be braced up with. But I myself, I'm tipping Egypt to go all the way, because now having their stamina clicking a bit, because the last encounter which he played, I think he had a good run, and if he takes that run and improves on that one, I'm pretty much sure they're gonna get there. And the difference now will be Hegazi. If he remains solid and at the back there and manage to marshal the defense pretty well, I think they can stop the Moroccan attack. But again, Morocco is an offensive team again, so it's just an open game.
So indeed, wait to see whether Morocco will go through past the Egyptians. Remember, Morocco even won this cup in 45 years. So they will be looking at going all the way and breaking that long drought. Then Bushe, going to the next one, obviously Senegal, they'll be playing against Equatorial Guinea. You say that Senegal, they haven't been impressive so far, but they're the only team that is yet to concede in this tournament. Senegal versus Equatorial Guinea. What's your take?
My take, Mendy is big, right? So to pass through Mendy, it's gonna be difficult. So with this game, I see it going on penalties.
But now,
And Senegal will proceed.
then Senegal obviously going into the penalties, but Equatorial Guinea, they played Mali and they went to the penalties. They've tested how the penalties are. Don't you think that's going to be an advantage to them?
It's not going to be an advantage. There is Mendy on the goalpost.
So Uhle they are reckoning that Eduardo Mendy, the Chelsea goalkeeper, is going to be the difference between Senegal and Equatorial Guinea. Then Grazo, the last of the quarterfinals, we're going to see the hosts Cameroon playing Gambia. Obviously, Cameroon being led by Vincent Abubakar, who's sitting on 6 goals so far, playing a Gambian side that is led by Afro Jalo, sitting on 2 goals. Quite an interesting one. No one gave Gambia a chance, but they seem to be doing well. They're playing the horse. What's your take, Graf?
Abubakar being a pivotal man, and I'm sure if he brings his charges forth, it's going to be a good game all the same. But not overriding the Gambians. Watching them, I've seen how they bring the play back to their opponents, and they've proven so versatile, especially in the midfield. They are so very much creative. They've got a lot of those chances created, and I'm so very much worried about the back line of Cameroon. They are seemingly permeable, especially when you really take the game to them. So I'm sure if the Gambians prove a threat to them, they can get 1 or 2 goals there, and I'm pretty sure that this game on its own is going to upset the Cameroonians. And honestly speaking, I'm not seeing Cameroon proceeding through this round. Yes, they may. Yes, I would love to see Vincent Abubakar proceeding and giving us those goals, but it's a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky on this one.
So wait to see whether the Cameroonians are going to progress to the semi-final. Remember, Cameroon, they've won this tournament 5 times, so they'll be looking at their 6th title, considering also that they are playing at home. Then just to go through the fixtures again for the last 8, that is the quarterfinals, we're going to see Burkina Faso playing Tunisia, then Senegal are going to play Equatorial Guinea, then in Arab affair, Egypt playing Morocco, then Cameroon are going to play Gambia. Then just moving on to the interesting one, COVID-19. Obviously, this tournament was supposed to have been played last year, but due to the COVID-19 that wreaked havoc, the tournament had to be postponed to this year. But a lot of controversy, Bushe and Grazo. Cameroon, especially the hosts, we have, according to the reports and what is available, the statistics that are available, we have seen that all the teams that have played Cameroon so far, which are the hosts, they've always had so many COVID cases. Would you say that there is something going on there?
I feel pity for Gambia, because they are going to play the host, and there's been a lot going on around Cameroon. Even from their first game, even the officiating, it seemed to be favoring the host. COVID cases, every team that plays Cameroon, they get a number of COVID cases. So we really don't know whether there is something going on behind the scenes or it's just a coincidence. Because each and every team, look at Comoros, about 12 players tested positive for COVID, including their goalkeepers. They had an infield player to be on goals. So it's, and at that game, I'm still like feeling like the pain about it, because it wasn't fair for Comoros. And I think Comoros could have proceeded if they had all their players in place. So I feel pity for Gambia, and I pray and hope there is no COVID case in the squad of Gambia. Cameroon, I think their strongest person is Vincent. So if they learn to manage Vincent, Gambia will go through. But I'm not impressed with COVID cases. I don't know whether maybe it's in camp. Malawi has complained about being untreated fairly. Hospitality isn't on point. So probably, the staff that are assisting these teams, they just come and go home, they're the ones who are bringing the virus into the camp. So I'm not sure what's going on, but there's something going on.
Gazo, to say you share the same sentiments of Cameroon not having one single COVID case in this tournament, but we have seen Burkina Faso having 5 cases against Cameroon, Ethiopia at 8, Cape Verde at 2, then lastly the Comoros at 12. And then the other thing, maybe grounds of interest in terms of what are the rules of the Confederations of African Football, that is CAF. They say as long as the team still has got 11 players, the match has to go on. Do you think that's fair?
Firstly, I think I would say let the Cameroonians give the nations their vaccine, because seemingly it's working for them, it's not working for other nations. I think there is a lot of controversy when it comes to the cases, considering Cameroon has not even caught any single player who is positive, and I feel some nations are being hard done, and it's like a weapon which is being used now, because we can't roll that out now. So it's like a weapon which is being used to catalyze the wars to the finals. And I think this matter was complained about by Bertrand Traoré, I think one of the opening games, and I think back then we took it lightly and thought that probably it's just the first game, but now it's coming into effect even all the Cameroonian games, and it's even manipulating the team strategies, the team structures, and you find most of the times first team players the ones who catch COVID. So it's now a concern. Like it's something which we have to look at into deeply, because now it's they are using it as a form of them progressing there. And I think the rule imposed by CAF now it's not favoring anyone now but Cameroon, because now if they manage to get about 8 players or so, then the entire team is just disbanded, because it's usually the first team players. So I think them having such a rule, yes, it looked as if it's a fair rule, because none of the nations had been caught with COVID. But now the fact that the Cameroonians are the ones who are immune, it's now a cause for concern, because it's like they are so very much immune, and it's not even this COVID is not applicable even to them. They don't get infected, and all the nations they do. So that's why I'm saying, please, Cameroon, share the vaccine with all the nations, so that we have a fair game.
So interesting, the Grazo saying that Cameroon should share that vaccine that makes them immune to the COVID-19. So wait to see whether CAF are going to look at that rule that says as long as the team has got 11 players, the match has to go on. But quite a lot of controversy in regards to that. Then from another controversy to another one, the VAR are being used for the first time in the Africa Cup of Nations, but we have seen some big decisions. So far in the tournament, 13 red cards that have been shown in the tournament, but the 7 of those red cards have been shown in the last round of 16. But quite some big decisions are being aided by the VAR. What's your take on the VAR, Abushe?
I think it's useless. I think it's useless. What's the point of having it? And still the ref maintains his decision after seeing that the foul that was committed is not maybe it's just for a yellow card, but the red card remains. For instance, that Zambian referee, right? He produced a red card on that match, then he checked on VAR, but he never reversed it. So what's the point of having it? After seeing it's not a red card, but it doesn't reverse it. So what's the point of having it? So I think we just have to leave it for the developments, because in Africa we have our own way of doing things. Whether it's there or not, we still, the ref's decision is final.
And it Krazo, would you say you share the same sentiments with what the Queen of Football is saying in regards to the VAR?
I think I would say it's the incompetence of the officials, because basically the VAR will just give you a replay and you make a decision. So there are some decisions which needed to be overturned, and there are some decisions which needed not stand. But if you are a referee, he goes along to the VAR and he plays the replay and then he decides what counts. Because there have been so many red cards which have been given to players which were not even red cards. And at times you look at the intention of the tackle, or some of the things which have been happening. Yes, African soccer is a bit physical. They do. I've just gotten replays of some matches, and I've seen how physical we are and how hard we get into those tackles. But as a referee, you have to understand all that, and looking at the replay, you just have to know, was this intentional or is this not intentional? I think in this last round of 16, there was a red card given to the Comoros. There was a red card given to the Cape Verdes. I think as a ref, you just have to know. You just have to see where is the player running, where is the player getting to, especially the Comoros one. I think the player just lost balance and then it just landed on the leg. So you just have to look at those things. So I strongly believe if the VAR is put into a good cause and with perfect officiating, we won't be seeing all this. But I think it comes to a sole decision made by the official, which tends to lead to these red cards.
So indeed, the VAR coming into play in this tournament in the 33rd edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. But some big decisions that have been made so far. Quite a lot of red cards that the VAR has aided. Just moving on to the fan zone, just to hear what our fans are saying. We have got VT. He said Egypt, having started shaky, may go all the way to clinch this one. Obviously, Egypt is starting slowly, but they seem to have picked form, and they beating the Ivorians was a big result. Going into the next match against Morocco, can Egypt go all the way to the final vision?
Yeah, they can go all the way because they have an advantage of a good goalkeeper. So they can go all the way.
So wait to see whether the Egyptians are going to go all the way. Then we've got a message from Micah. He says, typical of CAF, everything works in the Cameroon's favor because they are the worst. I'm sure he's referring to the COVID cases, Krazo. Would you say, Mike, is what he's saying is actually slightly true, that everything is working to the advantage of the worst, that is Cameroon?
Honestly, the world is just left with no choice but to take that. Because considering all the happenings and the immunity which the Cameroonians have, I think I share the same sentiments as well.
So this has been the fourth episode of this Siqalo podcast, where we're looking at the last round of 16 matches that we played, and the last 8 matches that are upcoming. Just to go through the fixtures again for the quarterfinals, we're going to have Burkina Faso playing Tunisia, then we're going to have Egypt playing Morocco, then the Senegalese are going to play Equatorial Guinea, then the last of the match we'll see Cameroon, the worst, playing Gambia. Abuche, thank you so much for joining us today, and Grazo Ndebele, as always, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Okay, thank you for having me, Hashi. It's a good program that you're having, so I'm honored to be here.
Indeed, Grazo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mashi.
So this has been the third episode, rather the fourth episode of the Siqalo podcast. Today I had the Queen of Football, Abuche Nube, as well as Clement Ndebele, aka Grazo, the former Bantu Rovers player and the Las Palmas coach. From me, Washington Sibanda, aka Marasta, and the crew behind the scenes.